I'm gonna get started. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Next on Live with Wodline. um, Tonight's conversation will be about relationships and marriage with my guests Anne and Irventz Garcon. With the wedding season upon us, I thought this would be a great conversation to have. I'm going to bring them in. Okay, let me see. Hope I did it right. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. How are you guys?
Good, how are you?
Mic check.
Good.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
We hear you.
Yep.
All right. Hi, Ann.
Hi, Irv. How are you?
I
Hey,
guess
nice.
you guys.
Been looking forward to meeting you for a long time, sis.
Please stop it.
Oh, I'm a big fan of yours from afar.
Can't stand you.
Are you guys on the same floor?
No, I'm
Okay.
actually
He's
in
all the way on the top.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was exposed today, guys, so he has to be away from us.
Oh.
Trying to keep us safe.
Better be safe than sorry in these COVID days.
Yeah.
Yeah, these COVID streets.
Yeah.
All
I miss
right,
you.
Also,
guys. Oh,
just the fact that it's not nothing crazy. Just the fact that we have to be right next to each other for an hour is best that we do it apart
that makes sense.
to be safe.
Yeah. But we're here, and that's what matters, right?
Yes. Thank you guys again for saying yes to have this conversation. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your love story.
So this is what I want to say. This is what I want to say before he starts. Like, I just want to say that Irvin struggles with accepting the truth. And so he's going to say something, but it's going to be completely like false. But I'll just let you have it, babe.
All right. Well, I always tell people, listen, when it comes to these relationship
Maybe I
stories,
should go first. I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off, babe, but maybe I should go first.
if it makes you feel better.
Okay, so
Wodline.
it
doesn't
yes.
back of what it is, you know.
I'm a pastor's daughter. And pastors' kids, anyone who's on here who is a pastor's child, know that we're raised to be very respectful. And, when people come to our church, we have to salute everybody. And it's just, we have that, we know everybody knows us. And so that's just how I was raised. And so, his organization came to my church one day and I knew everybody else but him. And so I was like, okay, new face. Like, maybe I should just go say hi. That's just kind of like how, thank you. That's how I was raised. And so I went to him and I said, hey, I've never seen you before. My name is Anne. And and I introduced myself, said, nice to meet you. And that was that. He makes it seem like, that day, like I was running after him. Not at all. Anyway, so I saw him there, and then I saw him again at my school, and I was like, okay, I see him again. I was like, hey, how are you? I'm good to see you again. And then I saw him another time at this rehearsal. What?
That doesn't sound like stalking to anybody.
Coincidence.
How about you was following me? Like, why did I keep seeing you? You were following me, maybe. So the third time I saw him at school, I was like, okay, hey, it's me again. How are you? And so from there, we began to talk, and there was a bus ride because we were both part of this mass choir, and so we went to Niagara Falls, and so we took this bus ride together, and that's where everything began. I made it short and sweet, babe.
Do you have a different version, Irvin?
Oh, you mean the truth? Okay. First of all, that organization I was part of, this was a community organization with different youth leaders that come together to form one organization. We were hosting the event. It just so happened to be one of our members was from her church. So she worked her magic to give us her church. So her church wasn't hosting the event. It's my organization using her church. So I'm up there wrapping up the service, wrapping up the program. I give benediction, send everybody home. Next thing you know, as everybody's converging from their seats to get in the center and go home. Next thing you know, I'm watching and I'm like people being pushed over, right? Like people in the middle of they're being pushed over like Moses parting the Red Sea, right? And out of nowhere, this person came up to me and said, "Hi." Like, first of all, sis, this is not your. You need to be part of the hospitality crew because we had our own hospitality team. So for you to come all the way to the front talking about you trying to be hospitable, right there, you already know that doesn't make any sense, y'all. And fast forward to the school thing, we she came up to me again. That mass choir, we were praying. We were praying because they were about to go sing. I didn't join the choir yet. I was just part of the, observing them to see if I was going to join or not.
Why
And
was he there?
because I
Continue.
was told,
Continue.
I was told, even though I'm not a member yet, I should just come around by the choir director, Sammy. He said, "Yo, come around anyway. Just come and see if you want to join." So I joined them in prayer. We always do this big prayer circle, and amen. You've fait prière. Boom, the prayer is done. Sis came up to me again, like, "Hi, you go to my school."
I didn't say
I
like
was
that.
like, "Oh, you said that, right?
I said hi. I see you again.
You go to my school, right?" And then following that, anyway, at Kingsborough Community College, every time I'm in the library doing my work, who comes over to say hi? Sis. Who's walking me to my classes? Sis.
You know why? You know why, Woodline? He had no friends. And so I
Yeah.
felt sorry for him. I felt bad. I was like, okay, I can't let him, be here all by himself. So I left my friends to go, and
That's your ministry in that moment, right?
That's the godly thing to do.
that's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
godly thing to do.
I see what's going on here. So that's the truth of the story.
Okay.
Yeah, we did the ride on that trip to Niagara Falls, and we spent a whole. Oh, but the way she didn't tell you how she ended up sitting next to me on the bus, though.
Oh.
You want to say this, or should I?
You know what?
I'll
So
go. I'll go.
you
I'll go.
he
So on we from school one afternoon, and then I was telling sis, like, listen, oh man, I'm looking so much forward to this trip because of this nice nap. I'm a napper. I love naps. About this nice nap, I'm going to take on this long ride to Niagara Falls. You know what sis said? Sis said, "You're not gonna get no sleep." I'm like, what? Why not? Because I'm gonna keep you awake. So I'm like, okay.
So you know why I said that? Do you know why I said that?
That mean you want to be my bus partner? Want to sit next to? You say, yeah.
There's
Yeah,
a
man.
reason why I said that, babe. You didn't know how to ask me to sit next to me, so I had to help you. He had no
Or maybe
game.
I just wanted to.
Babe,
Or
you
maybe I
needed
just
me.
wanted
You
to.
had no game, so I needed to help you.
Or maybe I just wanted to sleep.
You didn't want to sleep. You did not want to sleep.
So y'all could comment. Who do you believe? Based on these facts, who do you believe?
Come on, ladies. Come through. Come through, ladies.
Why you gotta call it? Come on, just tell the truth. Who y'all believe?
No, Woodline, who do you believe?
The evidence is there. I want to apologize to Reggie. Reggie is a friend of mine. I use the word friend loosely. No, I'm kidding. God is working on him, so he might say some crazy.
Thank you, Reggie.
So far.
Gotta
Good,
go with
Reggie.
Anne. Look, they're all
And
saying it.
look at
Diana
he's
said it
looking at
also.
Anne.
I mean,
Thank
I'll
you,
pray.
guys. Thank you.
I'll pray for y'all.
So how long were you guys together before you got married?
We became official in 2000, and we
Okay.
got married so about 6 years.
Oh.
Yeah. And it was actually long distance.
Yeah.
Yeah. For
Where
5
did you
years.
guys live?
I was in New York, and
Okay.
when for the first year we got together, he moved to Florida. So yeah,
How was that?
5 years long distance. It was tough.
How
Sorry.
I was gonna say, how often did you guys see each other?
Okay. So we were still like in college. So like whenever we had like spring break or, those kind of breaks in school, I would either fly there or he'd take a bus here. What?
We had no money. We were greyhounding.
But
Greyhound.
one time I flew, remember we had to go to Islip, that far airport. The tickets were like so cheap, but we didn't know how far it was from here. It was literally like 2 hours away from my house.
Mm.
Yeah, but that, it was tough, but I felt like it kind of kept the spice, because like we like always missed each other,
Okay.
And you couldn't FaceTime. This was before FaceTime.
Yeah.
Mm.
The phone bills, my phone bills, like it went into collection because it was so high. Because it was like, we like falling asleep on the phone together and, talking about nothing, just kind of.
I hung up after a while, sis. Nah,
but it was sweet though. He used to make me CDs and like send it to me. Like, yeah, we used to write letters to each other. So it was that type of, it was that period where we kind of did that lovey-dovey, cute stuff.
Oh, awesome.
You know how hard it was to write I love you?
Oh.
Remember writing I love you to your text because we had no QWERTY keyboard? Writing I love you to each other. We didn't have no QWERTY keyboard. It was an old school way you had to press the buttons just to get the letters. That's how old we are. We're showing our age over here.
I don't think you guys are that old. So how did you propose?
You go ahead, babe.
What happened?
Proposal.
Oh, so and some of my camp people are here. I see Sylvie here. I don't know if were you there, Sylvie? So we would go to this camp every year, Camp Lebanon. And I was the mass choir director, and Irventzs, before Irventzs moved to Florida, he would come as well. But he was already in Florida, and he came again that year, and he came with his mom, and he also came with another friend of his. I should have kind of put two and two together when I saw like, okay, why are you bringing your mom to camp? But I didn't. And that year we also bought each other the outfit that we would wear that night. I don't know why we said that, babe. I don't know why we made that agreement that I would buy you the outfit, you buy me the outfit, we wear it that night. Was that your idea?
We're just being.
Okay,
we're just being corny.
Okay, we're being corny. So we get to the camp or whatever, and then we had promise rings that we gave to each other. So that the night before, he said someone stole his promise ring in his room, and at that time there was a lot of like pranks that people would do at camp. Like, it was just a time for that, right? And so we thought maybe somebody pranked him and took his ring. But I'm like, okay, this is a promise ring. You can't play like that. Like, take your shirt or take your lotion or what, you know what I'm saying? But like, don't take your promise ring. So we were upset about that. So the next night, he goes up to the stage and he says, "Hey guys, I know we have fun here, but I have a promise ring that Anne gave to me that I can't find, and it's not, it's not funny that, somebody took it. I need whoever took it to speak up, because this is important to me." And I'm like, yeah. And then, so my uncle, but he's younger than me, but so I'll call him my cousin, but he's my uncle. He gets up and he's like, "Are you talking about this one? This ring? I think I found it." And so he comes down, and it's not the promise ring, it's the engagement ring. And he walks down, and when Irving starts to come to me with the ring, I was like, it then hits me what's happening. So I get up and I start to run away, right? Because I was so nervous. I didn't know what to do. And so they blocked me, and they put me up on the stage, took me up on the stage with him and in front of everybody. It's like paparazzi happened right away, cameras everywhere. Wow. And so Yeah, and so he proposed there. My sister was in the background, supposed to be videotaping everything. She's crying so much she forgot to press record, so we don't have the footage.
She had
And
one job.
yeah, one
One
job.
job.
And you literally see her in pictures like this with a camera like this, like, but never press record.
I was scared,
Aw.
Sylvie. I didn't know what to do. I ran away. I didn't know what to do, but it was beautiful.
Oh, that's awesome. And how many kids do you guys have?
We have 3.
3. How many boys? How many girls?
Melody is 12. She's our first.
Mm-hmm.
And it got her name because, you know, I love to sing. So Melody was my first thought. Owen is 11. He came a year and 3 days after her. So when I was pregnant, when I had Melody, she was only 3 months, and I found out I was pregnant again.
Oh.
And the first thing that came to mind was, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Because like it just happened, right? And so Owen's initials are OMG. Owen Mikhail Garcon.
Not immaculate, you know?
Wow.
Owen Mikhail Garcon. And then
That's
we
cute. That's
had,
cute.
and then 10 years later, I don't know what happened. We just got knocked up again, and Bailey came. So we named her Bailey because Melody's first initial is M, Owen's is O, and we wanted to have a little mob. So we needed a B name, and so we got Bailey Ann. Bailey Ann Arya Garcon.
It's the Garcon mob.
And she's 2.
Okay.
Going on 22. Right
Is
there.
that who I heard in the background the other day?
That's exactly who you heard. The boss.
Oh, okay. I get it.
It's the mob boss.
I don't think you told us about you guys, like yourselves, in the beginning. You just went straight into your story.
Oh,
Didn't
yeah.
you?
I don't think so. I think, you know,
Yeah.
after being together for a while, and as corny as gonna sound, it's like you just everything's about the us, I guess.
Aww, babe.
Yeah, man.
He knows how easy I am.
Yeah, man. So I'm a school counselor.
Okay.
Born and raised. I was born in Haiti. I came when I was 12 years old. I have a master's in education, school counseling education. What else? I like sleeping. I love a good nap. I'm a pretty even kill person. Whatever what you see is what you get. I'm very simple. That's me in a nutshell. Keep it short.
And you love you love your family.
I'm a family man.
He's a family man.
That's crazy. It's insane. If you ever hear me I'll go to jails because something happened, something with my family. I took revenge on somebody.
God forbid. God forbid. So I am Anne Garcon, and I am Irventz's wife. And I am a teacher, actually a kindergarten teacher this year. And I'm also a worship leader, a recording artist. I can add the title author to my name now. I also wrote a book. I am and I just love. We do marriage ministry, and it's because we believe in marriage and we believe in relationships, and we just love. And so Irventz's, you know, he's kind of like my biggest supporter. And we can talk a little bit about that later, but I just wanted to mention that because everything that I've been able to succeed at is because I have him on my corner.
Yeah,
awesome. Thank you for the intro. So let's talk about faith. What role did your faith play in your relationship?
We both are believers in the whole notion of marriage and being ordained by God, and the whole idea of us unequally yoked and all that other good stuff, making sure that we find someone whose faith aligned with ours, right? Because it makes a world of a difference when you and your person have the same core belief, both spiritually speaking, morally speaking. And so, God being the center of our lives individually, led to God being the center of our marriage as a unit, right? And so it's a very important part of who we are in our identity. We identify in Christ both individually and also as a unit, which is actually a really, really great combination.
Yeah, I feel like faith is all we know. Like that's what we've been brought up on, and faith has gotten us through so much. Um, Even in us like being separated for that 5 long years, kind of like praying, like God, make him come back. Like God made that happen. Like even in after we got married and praying for our family and for God to bless my womb. Like I struggled for 3 years, right? Um, but prayer and trusting in God, that kind of brought us through. And like 3 kids later, we can say God has been faithful. So like I said, faith is all we know. Faith, we stand on faith, and we're faithing God for more things because we don't feel like we've arrived.
Yeah.
Wow. Amen. I know Irvin's briefly mentioned being equally or unequally yoked. Why does that matter?
I heard an illustration a long time ago. I'm not the kind of person to steal people's thing and say I came up with that.
Mm-hmm.
I heard it a very long time ago where the preacher was saying, imagine you have two field animals or two cows, right? And you yoke them together because the yoke is what goes on their necks so they could plow the ground. And if they are not equally yoked, one's trying to go one way and the other, it's not going to be productive. So being equally yoked is so important in a marriage, because when it comes to the direction that you want to have for your life and for your family, for your unit, you have to be on the same page. We've seen folks, or we've encountered people who have different faiths, and it takes a toll on their marriage, right? And but equally yoked doesn't only apply. I know it's a biblical context, but it also applies in drive in what it is that you want to accomplish in life. If you don't have the same passion, or at least the support of one another in this particular context, it's going to be very difficult for you to accomplish certain things. But in the biblical context, equally yoked is super important. Imagine you want to go to church, your husband or your wife is not church, is not a believer. Now you're raising kids together. You could already imagine the difficulty that comes about, because when it's time to go to church, they're gonna be saying, "Hey, Daddy's not going. Why do I have to go?" And so it is super important, and it really matters to the growth and success of your marriage or relationship.
Yeah, and I like that he pointed out about the drive, but it's not only about drive, right? It's like you can have two saved people together who are still unequally yoked, right? Like I think you have to be equally yoked in every aspect. And I don't think equally yoked necessarily means being the same. It's not about being the same. It's about being like compatible, right? And like finding ways where, okay, let's say in our spending, like, are you a big spender or are you a saver? You can be unequally yoked in that aspect as well, but trying to find the common ground that will help your relationship, your marriage succeed. I think that's super important. I know it's mostly spoken in terms of faith, unequally yoked in faith, but I feel like it can go beyond that. You can still have the same faith, but not really be in the same space in terms of other areas in your marriage
Yeah,
or
it's
relationship.
about moving in the same direction.
Yeah.
It's about moving in the same direction. Again, like I said, that same analogy before, when two cows are yoked together, they're moving in the same direction, right? They turn the same direction. If they need to stop, they're both stopping. If they need to move forward, they're both moving forward. And at the end of it, when they are plowing yoked equally, you see the harvest, right?
Oh
And so that's
no. Hmm.
Yeah.
why it's so essential.
How
Yeah, I
can
was
two walk
so
together unless they agree?
Yeah.
yeah, that's true. So Evans, I have a question for you.
You're
Um, what advice would you give a man who's interested in pursuing a woman but is afraid of being rejected?
well, as you heard from my story, I didn't have a problem because
Bro,
this
you
this
bro, you had the problem, but you pursued anyway. Continue.
this this was
Testify.
Oh,
this pursuing like crazy. You know what I mean? She found a brother in the church. She found a brother in the basement. She found a brother in the school library. So,
but aren't women supposed to make themselves like available
oh,
so you know that she's
she was
interested?
definitely being Ruth. She was definitely being biblical Ruth. Like
Okay.
she was pulling
You
pulling up.
trying to make me look thirsty, babe. That's not nice.
Hey, I quenched that thirst, didn't I?
Oh God.
Word. No, but I would say, listen, just go for it, man. Listen, at the end of the day, I feel like we've missed the part um, where these things are supposed to happen naturally, right?
Mm,
When you befriend somebody, because I think that's what happened with N and I. Although I feel like we there was a romantic interest that started very early on, but it took us like at least a good year, I would say, babe, before we actually started to talk romantically or whatever.
hmm.
So so in terms of um, pursuing a woman or interested in a woman, try to get to befriend her first. Let her see who you are. Do the romantic thing that you're supposed to do. Writing letters, saying hello, or sending a text message. Hey, good morning. How are you doing? If you try to jump in right away, hey, I wanna bag you, shorty. Blah 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 blah. It might not be as successful, right? That rejection is when you're doing way too much. I think sometimes men will try to do way too much because of the influence that we see how things are supposed to happen. Hey, with the different messages that we get, but if you trying to pursue a woman, just begin with the friendship aspect. Just to get to know the person, get to know them for who they are. Show them that you're interested in their holistically, and not just one particular aspect of who she is. And as you're getting to know her, she's getting to know you. Même si ou pas beau garçon, she might just fall in love for you just the way you are. Like, pas de problème ça, moi même beau garçon déjà. But si ou même ou pas garçon, if you're not a good looking dude, I just fall in love with the way you treat her, the way you're showing love, the way you're showing, you know, um, all those different steps you're supposed to take. So don't be afraid. Listen, the best thing you can do is just put yourself out there and live with the results.
So are you saying attraction will grow?
Attraction can grow. I mean, I've seen some people. I'm like, why are you with him or why are you with her? Uh, but the only explanation I could come up with, like, you must love their personality. Wow. No, I've seen something like, oh, y'all, like, y'all unequally yoked.
Did you just say
Yes,
look fully, babe? Did you
look
just say
fully,
look fully?
look fully. I'm making up words on tonight. They are definitely unequally yoked, but like,
Okay.
hey, he or she made it happen, right? So it's them stepping out in their comfort zone and being bold enough to say, hey, getting to know the person, lift them up, build them up. Uh, from there, look fully bold.
Look fully bold. Okay. And Anne, the question I have for you is what advice would you give to a woman who's unsure if she should date a man that's outside of her usual type?
Mm.
Mm.
Wait, you're gonna speak from a testimonial place, or an example. You're an example, right?
You're
Because
my
we all,
type. You are my type.
we heard the story already. So,
I'll give you that one. You are my type.
holla.
Anyway, so I would say to those who just keep closing doors to other people because they just don't feel like they're their type, I feel like you should just open that door. Honestly, like you don't know what someone can add to your life.
Mm,
And just because this person is your type doesn't necessarily mean this is the person that you need. This is the kind of person that you need. You know, I feel like, you know, women tend to just kind of like, if a guy's just trying to holler, if you don't like the way he looks, or you automatically will shut him down. But like opening that, you know, especially if you're not in a relationship, right? Opening that door to conversation, you might not, you never know. This may be the person that God is really bringing into your life. This person may really bring out some things in you that you didn't even know was in yourself, right? So I think you should just really be open to exploring an opportunity that can really be the best addition to your life, you know? You know, I can't really say that happened with me at Irventz's, but you know, I do know of certain people who have, you know, who's like, I never saw myself with him, or I never saw myself with them. And they're like successful in their relationship right now. So I think it's really important that we're open, you know, to exploring people who are outside of what we're normally used to.
Yeah.
I think that's even in regular relationships. Like, you know, we were brought up, you know, in a circle of people, like, and those are just our friends. But like when you go to college and you explore these different relationships, like, whoa, you know, there's like a whole new world out there. And so like just being closed in your little circle, in your little bubble, you're missing out on so much.
Yeah. It doesn't mean that you settle either, right?
Yeah.
Have your standard, you have what you or in terms of, it could be looks, it could be personality, it could be so many different things, career and things of that nature. It doesn't mean that you're settled, but it's all about exploration, as somebody wrote. And also there's nothing wrong with exploring, but with a goal in mind, right? You have goal in mind. You can't be a serial dater or serial. If you're looking for a relationship, if you're really serious about it, that should be the goal in your exploration. It shouldn't be a situation where you're trying to conquer as many as you're trying, conquer as many different conquests as you possibly can, because you're not really looking for it. You're just looking to have fun, quote unquote, in the moment.
Yeah.
So have your standard, but at the same time, being willing to be flexible.
And I bet you just said the word that I was going to talk about. That's why we together, babe. That's why we meant to be. That's why. So you said having your standard, right? But I also feel like, you know, sometimes we set standards so high that no one can reach them, right? And so I feel like, you know, you don't want to set your standards so high that you yourself can't even reach those standards. Like you want to make sure they're realistic, you know, like if you have, let's say you have, there are non-negotiables that you should have.
Yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
great, you know, but then sometimes we set standards that are just like, okay, who are you trying to meet? Where do you think that person's going to come from? You know, so really kind of be mindful of the standards that you're setting. Make sure that they're not so high that no one can meet them.
Yeah. We've done a workshop a couple of times. It's called Unrealistic Expectation. We've done for married couples and singles, and that's one of the things we talk about, being realistic with your expectation. There are some things that are non-negotiables, but there are things we can compromise on, and so being ready and willing to explore and see where it takes you.
Oh, that's good. Oh yeah, they are available to facilitate workshops and conferences, right?
Yes, we are. Plug.
I got you. So what are some maybe a few weeks back, or like a couple months back, I had a next on live with Mikael, and I had asked her about some red flags. What are some red flags in relationships that we should never ignore?
I think the first one, and ultimately, is like abuse. Like no matter what kind of abuse, physical, verbal, emotional, spiritual, whatever it is, any kind of abuse, like that person just doesn't need to be in a relationship at all. They need to be left alone. So if that's happening in your current relationship, don't turn a blind eye to it. It is get out, right?
That's good.
I would say also people, someone with overly controlling. You could get a taste for some of that stuff even before you start dating, or as you're dating them, you see they're being controlling. That's something for you to try to really run away from, because that cannot end well. Like someone who's, I also say narcissism,
Mm.
a narcissistic person, that's a red flag because there's so much things that come along with that. When it comes to disagreement, can that person really take a step back and self-evaluate and make the adjustment in character and habits that you really need them to make if they're overly narcissistic, you know? Um,
I think if
things.
somebody is also, I'm sorry, babe.
No, go.
I think if somebody's also like really secretive and like hides
Mm.
things from you, that like how do you build trust in a relationship if someone is always secretive and like you can never touch their phone like ever, right? You can never, you can't ask specific questions, or their stories don't really add up because they're telling you one thing but then something. God gave us intuition for a reason. He gave us discernment for a reason. Like, you can tell when something is not right. You don't want to ignore that. You don't want to ignore that as either.
Yeah. This one's gonna be a little bit controversial, but
Mm.
you want to be ready if the person deal with a lot of low self-esteem, right?
Mm.
Uh, because you it's going to take a lot of work for you to build that person up, and you want to make sure that you are going to be able to be empathetic enough to cater to that, because not everybody can handle that, to be, if you want to be honest and transparent about it, right? Because that person might have a lot of different trauma that causes them to be where they are in terms of how they see themselves, and for you as a person who might be dealing with those issues, how will the person respond to your need, this particular need to be built up, right? Because people always talk about finding your better half. You're not supposed to come into a relationship half. You're
Mm.
supposed to be whole in yourself, and that person is whole in themselves, and you combine together and build whatever it is you need to be built. You cannot look for fulfillment in another person. So if the person coming in a relationship and you get the sense that they are not fulfilled in who they are, that could be a red flag, because that's the work that you're gonna have to put into
Mm.
to help that person overcome those things. And if you are not able to do it, I guess that could be an orange flag, whatever is between red and
What is
but
orange?
but it is it is worth mentioning, right? It is
Mm-hmm.
worth, because again, you're supposed to be getting to a relationship as whole as possible. So in sidebar, in the moment, if you are single, you have those insecurities you need to build to work on. That's the time you should be really doing it before you get into a relationship. Don't expect fulfillment in a relationship.
I agree.
I would also
Yeah.
say another red flag is if everyone in your circle is saying the same thing about this person,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
believe them, right? If it walks like a duck and it talks like a duck, what is it, babe?
The chicken.
So silly.
No? Turkey?
Listen, no, seriously, listen to what people are saying. Like, you want to make sure these are people that are for you and not people who are against everything you do, or
Yeah.
that are hating. Like, people that are really in
Mm.
your close circle, if everyone is really kind of sharing the same perspective, right? You want to
I think
be, go ahead. You want
I
to
think
listen.
smart enough to detect the haters versus those who are really looking out for you. I think
Mm.
we are just so caught up in wanting what we want
Yep.
that we call it people hate on us,
Yeah.
and we are not objective enough to look. Because listen, we are on the outside looking in, so there's certain things we see that you don't see,
True.
right? Everybody's hating on your relationship, so there could be some truth to it. Now, if we can tell you this truth and you hold this person to account and they're willing to make the adjustment, great. But if we keep telling the same thing, my thing is, once you marry it, you're living with it. And by it, I'm talking about all those flaws, all those red things, all those red flags, everything we've been talking about. Don't expect the person to change after marriage, because most likely it might not. You know what I'm saying? So those are some of the things we could tell y'all.
Yeah.
Those were good. So what is love? I make sure I say it correctly. Love talks with the Garcons.
So one day, right? Literally one day, we came from the gym. Remember that time, man? This is when Facebook Live first started. I don't even think Anne remembers.
You know what?
And then
We haven't been to the gym in so long, so I'm like, okay, huh?
so them, and then we
Shame on us.
let's go live. And then we went live one time on Facebook, and it was great feedback. And so that's how Love Talks was initially birthed.
It was called Marriage Talks.
It was marriage talk.
Okay.
Then we transitioned it to Love Talk, because we realized the things that we're talking about doesn't just apply to married couples. So Love Garcon is basically a bi-weekly series where we actually where we used to do Facebook Live. We go live, not as often as we should, and also create content
Not as
for
often
YouTube.
as you should.
All right, we haven't been on for a while, but
I get on him about that all the time, Woodline, okay?
Consistent.
How can two walk together unless they agree?
putting out for strangers. Stop. So basically, it is a ministry that is created where we actually have different conversations about relationship topics. Sometimes it used to be live more often, and then we create a content for our YouTube page, discussing various things related to love and relationship, regardless if you're single, divorced, married. We create topics that is relatable to everybody and everybody else in between. How'd I do, babe? You want to add something?
You did good, babe.
Right.
So make sure you guys subscribe. What's the name of the channel? YouTube channel?
Love Talks with the Garcons. So love, you know how to spell love. Talks with an S with the Garcons, GARCONS. Look us up on YouTube. Follow there. We are also on IG. It's Love Talks _with_ the Garcons.
And we are working on being a little bit more intentional about our content and posting.
It's Bailey's.
It's the
You're very
boss.
the baby.
We'll give him that.
Oh my gosh, this thunder is crazy. So when I came up with the title of tonight's chat, little did I know you guys had like a series on Before You Say I Do. I was like, look at God. So of course I watched it and I loved it. It was called The ABCs Before You Say I Do.
Yeah.
What are your top 5? I don't want you to give everything away because I want them to go to your YouTube channel and actually watch it.
Yeah.
But what are your top 5?
Yeah, we're booking down to like
some favorites.
We're booking down 2 or 3 videos, babe. Or was it?
It's 4 videos.
4 series, yeah. We didn't want it to be super long.
Yeah.
My wife loves acronyms, so the whole ABC stuff. If she could make an acronym about Pythagorean theorem, she probably would. So that's how it came about. We do yours. Are we doing 5 combined or 5?
It's up to you guys.
Okay, so we didn't do it together.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Let's see if we have the same ones, babe.
Okay.
All right.
I know one we're gonna have is I.
Yeah, that's my first one.
Intentionality.
Yes, that's my top one. Intentionality. We live by intentionality because Kendall, I'm looking at her comment. But yes, we live by intentionality because we believe that in order to be successful in anything, you got to be intentional about what you're doing, right? Being intentional is thinking about what you're thinking about what you're doing, thinking about how, just like not just allowing your relationship to just kind of flow and just go, right? But being intentional about how you're going to continue to keep the bond, right? Because when life happens, we tend to we tend to just kind of forget certain things. I even say, like, when our kids came into the picture, like, you know, we forgot about us. It was just about being mommy and daddy, but we had to be intentional about being, okay, I'm your wife, you're my husband, and we gotta make this work, because when they're gone, it's just going to be us. So being intentional is number one. Another one I highlighted was the letter L, which is love isn't all you need. Because there will be times that, love, you won't like the person, right? Or, and, love doesn't pay the bills. Love doesn't, love is beautiful. You want to have love, but sometimes it's not enough, right? If there's a conflict and you're having, like we even said this in the video, but you guys will check it out when you go watch. If there's like conflict, right? And Irv's just acting up, in the moment, like him just saying, I love you, babe, that's not going to diffuse the situation. Like, you need to have some communication skills. Like, how are we going to come together to make this work? So that's another one that I highlighted. Love isn't all you need, because love is not always enough. Go ahead, babe, you can jump in.
We got, I want to highlight W. W is wedding is just one day.
I got that too, babe.
Yeah. So you can't just, and matter of fact, you probably don't even remember your wedding day. That's how crazy it goes, how quickly. I think it was worse for Anne and me. I think the brides get pulled a lot versus I remember the dance floor. I remember the
I don't.
When we watch our video, Anne was like, whoa, this happened? Because it's so much happening in that one particular day. You tend to not plan for following the wedding day. So that is super important. I want to also highlight X, Xerox. And Xerox has to do with no copying. We are living in the age of relationship goal. No, you can admire somebody's relationship, but you can't copy it. You do not copy it, because you have to find your normal and what works for you and your partner.
I also highlighted the letter N, which is needs matter. You have to cater to your partner's needs. If you're coming into a relationship and you know that you're selfish, just exit stage left. Like, you cannot be in a relationship if it's all about you. Needs matter. The needs of your person, they matter. And when they are, and because it's a need for them, it has to become a need for you. You have to validate those needs. And also wanted to add that needs change. Needs will change. I'm not the same person. I don't have the same needs that I had when we were engaged. My needs have changed, and he has to adapt to that, because that's your job, to cater to my needs, right? But you have to just kind of go have that in mind, that needs not only matter, but they will change, and you have to be able to adapt and cater to them.
Yeah. And I guess if you're going to share one more, this is the one thing that a lot of people will red flag go off or bulb go off, and sometimes it's way too late, is the M. M is marriage takes work. Marriage takes work. Depending on your level of compatibility, it will say how much work you have to put into it. Like, for example, if we're super compatible, we get along really well, there's still involved. But if you are on the opposite end, and the Bible talks about how the two shall become one, that's God telling us there's work for you as you're becoming a unit. There's work that have to be put in. Imagine, have you guys ever tried to put together a like sound system unit or a wall unit? It's work, right? You have to put for it to stand and be sturdy. You gotta make sure you're using all the right tools to make sure that it is not gonna be wobbly. Same thing applies to your marriage as well.
Yeah, we just came from a marriage retreat that we had last week, and we're still like on a high from that, where 15 couples came together to make it work, right? To have, to kind of put their hands to the labor, like to do things to make it work. And it's not only just about you know, and another one was prayer. Prayer is key, right? You want to make sure that your marriage, your relationship is founded on prayer. But prayer
That,
alone,
that's
oh, huh,
come into
babe?
play. That's where you come in, being equally you'll come into play.
Yeah,
If you're
yeah. Right. But then at the same time, I'm not going to say prayer isn't enough, but but like faith without works is dead. Like, what work are you putting in to make sure that your marriage will succeed, that it will continue to grow, that that it grows each and every day. So, I would say, um, what was I saying?
prayer.
The
Right.
literal work that the people came to the retreat to actually,
Mm.
have tools to put into their tool belt so that when they get back home, they
We
have
had a
those necessary tools to continue building their marriage.
we had a
Okay.
blast.
Yeah.
Take us back.
Take us back.
Oh. Get away from the kids and just focus on you guys.
Yeah.
Man, beautiful.
It's annual, the retreat.
It is.
Yeah, yeah. We took us and our partners. So we have another ministry called Marriage Built to Last. That's our marriage ministry with our partners, the Fleurmonts. We've been doing it for 12 years. Been together for 12 years. Crazy. This was probably like our seventh or retreat,
Six.
the sixth retreat because we took a break because of COVID and Bailey. But
Stop blaming everything on the
When the
babe.
baby.
primarily COVID. And so every year we get together, leaving everything behind. I see Stan here, I see Jermaine. I see some people that was there with us this weekend. They also joining us, and we just had a great time. We do this annually.
That's
Yeah, man.
That's awesome. There are a few. Someone had. Well, there's two questions here. Are you guys ready for questions? Like, was there
Get it.
anything else you wanted to share for the ABCs before you say I do?
Go check out the video.
And you come back and comment on this video. Let us know what was your favorite.
Oh,
Yes.
get all 20, 28. Wait.
What?
Babe.
How many letters in the alphabet?
Babe. Can we edit that part out, Willie? Can we edit that part out?
Think about the Haitian alphabet from Woka.
What?
I mean, I knew it was. Yes, Jermaine. Thank you.
Best retreat ever. It really was.
Oh.
It was.
Okay. First question. Do you recommend making a list of needs prior to entering a marriage?
That's an activity that we did at the retreat. We talked about, there was like a list of what are my needs. And I had to write down what my needs were and what I thought his needs were. And he did the same thing. And we kind of compared it to see if, you really do know what I need.
Okay.
But I think it's important to know what your needs are. I think that what that does, it kind of makes you aware of who you are coming into the relationship. You don't want the list to be so long that if you share it with that person, it scares them away, right? But I think it's important to know what your needs are. What do you think, babe?
Yeah. I think it's just the how it's delivered, how it's processed, how it's integrated. Integrated. I'm not from here.
Integrated.
There you go. Whatever. How that happens in the relationship, right? Imagine going to a date and you pull out the list. So let's see. Here's
check.
let's
Right.
Got here. No, but I feel like that list is you self-assessing, right? There's nothing with self-assessment and realizing what you need, but it's just a matter of having that flexibility. Just knowing that no man's gonna check off every single box. No women's gonna check off every single box. That's God's job.
That's true. Same person. That's another question. How does a couple overcome falling?
How does a couple overcome falling?
Falling, yeah.
In terms of infidelity, is that what they're referring to? Probably.
I don't know. They didn't specify.
If it's infidelity, I don't want to oversimplify things, but just don't put yourself in certain situation. Don't test your strength. Don't test your. People might have that mentality. Oh, it can't happen to me. So I am gonna stay up and have the late night conversation. I am gonna do the work babe, the work wife, the work husband, and next thing you know, it developed and built into something else that you had no intention of it happening. So don't test your strength in that particular context. Um,
Oh, okay.
Dare I say, like Joseph, run away. If you have to run, run away. Just don't put yourself in a situation and assume that it can't happen to you.
Okay.
But
The
I
first thing
also,
said sexual. So I'm not sure if it's within marriage or before marriage.
I think they're probably talking, if they're talking about,
Oh, before marriage.
Maybe, I'm not too sure.
oh, before marriage, not infidelity in the marriage.
Yeah,
I
if
don't know.
it's
They
before,
just responded with.
if it's
Let's
before
answer
marriage,
both, babe. Let's just answer both.
yeah,
Hmm.
if it's before marriage, just move to Florida like I did.
They said before. They
Yeah,
said
yo,
before.
listen, let's keep it a buck. It is not easy at all. Not, it could be here. It could be here another hour just talking about that if you want to keep it real. Listen,
Hmm.
uh, we are human beings with urges.
Hmm.
Let's not over spiritualize it. Now God help us to give us the strength, right? The Bible talk about resist the enemy will flee from you, and there's a lot of things about temptation. But at the end of the day, we are also still human beings. So it's very
Hmm.
important that you know stuff in certain situation that you're gonna end up falling. Like Ann and I, we had a couple of almost situations, right? There's a lot of like, Lord, we won't do it again. We won't do it again. We promise we won't do it again. But even with that, you have to be intentional. If you're
Hmm.
trying to maintain your purity, you have to put in the work. You have to avoid certain things, certain
Hmm.
places, right? It's a practical thing, y'all. Pray on it, but there's a lot of practicality behind it at the same time. Yeah, baby.
Because God is not going to take away your horniness.
Hmm.
It's there.
With
It's
some
there.
horny, with
Huh?
some horny, we got some horny Christians. Let's keep it real.
Hello? Because we're human, right? We gotta, and like he said, don't test your strength. Like, no Netflixing and chilling, because you
Hmm.
know that when you're cuddling, it makes you feel a certain way. Like, if it means when you go out in the daytime. Like, and I won't even say, don't be in anywhere, anywhere by yourself, because like people can do it anywhere these days. It's not about being in a house, right? It's just
Hmm.
about having that intentionality in mind. Okay, I want to walk pure. I want to make sure I'm walking in purity. So I'm going to make sure that I don't set myself up for failure. So what are the things
Yeah,
that you're going to do? If you're like on a diet, you're not going to sit around people who are eating Popeyes, right? You're not going to you're not going to go through the McDonald's drive-through, because you know that it's tempting. You might just
Hmm.
say, okay, I'm
yeah,
going to buy a bottle of water, but you're going to get a milkshake too. So just kind of don't put yourself in situations that will kind of set up a trap for you. It's hard,
yeah.
but it's possible.
Hmm.
Pause.
He's just so like, his mind is just, you didn't even get it. I know. She's like, what? Because his mind just goes places that, like, why is it
Okay.
there? I'm
You say
still
it's
praying.
hard.
I'm still praying for him, sis. Like,
But you love him
No,
though.
no, but funny enough though, we don't talk enough, especially in the church context. We don't talk about those urges and needs
Hmm.
practically and
That's
giving
true.
the practical advice. So like so instead of prayer and also doing these steps, these young people feel like they're the worst people alive because they fall or they've had sex one time and like, you know what, God hates me anyway. Let me
Hmm.
just keep. We don't talk enough about God's redemption, even in that context. We just make young people feel like they're the worst sinners in the world because they've had sex. And we rather marry them off because we found out they had sex or they're pregnant. It's
Hmm.
crazy. So we want to let y'all know before we got married, it was really, really hard. Pause. But with intentionality, with practical steps, you are able to maintain your purity.
yes, you are.
Kindling.
He
Sorry.
did. No, because I should have apologized at the beginning and said, like, he's talking about Reggie has no filter. He doesn't have a filter. And so I usually apologize in advance before we start speaking, because he may say something that's just like off.
I mean, got ain't through with me yet.
Sometimes I wonder if he ever started.
It's after 9. I'm not too sure if you're open for another question or two.
So we're good.
Okay.
We shipped the
yeah, we shipped the baby away. She's at grandma's.
So if anyone has any question, please put it in the chat, or you can put it in the question option. But this was good, guys. I enjoyed this conversation.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
My pleasure.
Oh. So listen, real quick though, before we get dismissed, questions are coming. Mm-hmm. I want to say this, right? So at our retreat that we just had, we challenged the men to take this action to their booze, and it shouldn't just happen at the retreat. They could do it after the fact. So, babe, I wanted to know you to know that I love you very much, and as much as we were facilitators at the retreat, I learned a lot for myself, right? And I wanted to know if you will still do the pleasure of being my wife for the rest of my life.
Jermaine, do you see?
Oh,
you gonna answer, bro?
Wait, before I say yes, okay? So we, as facilitators,
bro, can you answer?
Okay, I just want to say it. I want to say it first, babe. Wait.
Well, wait, bro.
Okay, wait, babe. Wait. Hold it there. No, stay there.
My arm hurts.
Listen, no, because as facilitators, we're always on the go. We're working. So what we have the couples do, sometimes we don't get a chance to do ourselves. And so we gave each husband a ring and said, you should, if you want to, you can repropose to your wife this weekend. And he didn't do it. And just today, Wodline, I was looking at our folder and I saw the envelope. It wasn't open, but he knew what was in it. And I was like, I wish he would have done it. And he's doing it tonight.
That's so sweet.
Yes, babe, I will marry you again and again and again and again.
Send one of the kids up to get the ring so you can put it on.
Aww.
And Owen.
They're closer to you.
Owen!
Owen! So sweet.
No, so we put the envelope in the folder for all the husband. That says for his eyes only. And I don't think none of the wives who haven't gotten it yet are on here, so which is great. Jermaine got proposed to by Nick.
Yeah.
Aww.
Last day. Stanley, I saw Stanley was Stanley was like one of the
he was the first one. Oh, he's the second one.
At date night at the dinner. So basically the letter told the husbands find a time during the weekend to repropose to your wife. And so this ring was, and so she thought I was gonna do it, but I knew today we're Owen! Probably watching TV.
You're all invited to the wedding. You're all invited. Kennelyn, you will be the host. Yes.
Stop it. Our first
That's
wedding.
That's how you should relaunch your YouTube channel.
Ooh. Giving us ideas, babe.
Yes. That'll be nice.
I would do this all over again. Almost 16 years later.
When's your anniversary?
August 12th is gonna be our 16th year.
Oh, awesome.
She's good people. I like her. So her reward in paparazzi and pushing all those people on the side that Thursday when she saw me, it's paying off all these years later.
I'm giving you
no, it is not only for at all.
So it's open to everyone?
It's open to one. Matter of fact, Ann and I were having this conversation. These are all the taboo things we don't talk about in the church, and we were
Mm-hmm.
talking. Marriage is instituted by God. We're firm believers on it, and we stand firm on it. But at the same time, we do see marriage as a universal thing that happens all over the world, right? Regardless of what your belief system is.
Mm-hmm.
So giving the tools, first we want to give you God. We're not ashamed about that. But at the same time, marriage is so universal. You just need the right tools to make it work, to make it do what it do. So yeah, when we have our retreat, it's not just for church folks, it's open to everybody.
Oh, that's awesome. And how can people find more information about the
Yeah,
retreat?
messages and email us marriagebuilttolast@gmail.com. We are good with the email. Marriage Built to Last isn't on social media as much, but Love Talks with the Garcon is. So you can find us on Love Talks with the Garcons on social media. It's all one entity, just two different focus, I would say.
Okay.
Well, focus primarily on marriage, and the other focus on regardless of where you are in love and relationships.
That's great, guys. That's awesome. We need it in the community, in the kingdom.
Yeah.
Someone had asked, they wanted to hear more about compatibility.
Compatibility.
Mm-hmm.
So compatibility isn't defined necessarily as being the same, right? We have to make sure we are distinguishing that, because my wife and I are compatible. We are very different at the same time, but we complement each other, right? So compatibility have a lot to do with how we complement each other. There's so a big piece of it is that, and it's really hard to put a definition behind it. It's more so of an experience than anything else, right? Maybe you want to add to that?
Mm-hmm. Um, and Irvin talks about it a lot. Like, you want to make sure that I feel like compatibility is just kind of being on the same page about things. You could look at a page and there's so many different things going on in the page. Like, there's some illustrations, there are words, but they all work together to tell a story, right? And so I feel like compatibility is just that, being on the same page when it comes to certain things in life, so that as you walk together, there's not always this happening, right? Like, it's not always this happening because you are on the same page. And so
And
you want to make sure you're finding someone that you are compatible to or compatible with. It'll just eliminate so many issues in your relationship. Good.
yeah, and also a lot of it has to do with being in sync, right? Being in sync with each other and working together. So a big part of it has to do with the togetherness, and so being able to actually have the same mindset in terms of what it is that you're trying to accomplish
Mm-hmm.
goes a very long way. Both partners also, you're able to understand and accept each other. So there's that piece that is also involved with it. But one thing we don't really think compatibility means you're exactly the same. That's not
Yeah.
what it is. That's one thing it's not.
Not even twins are exactly the same. So, like, right? So, like, it's not possible. You just want to make sure you're on the same page.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good. Tootsie Toots. She asked, what do you do when you feel like the waiting journey / single season has been too long?
Mm,
The struggle is real.
yeah.
Honestly, I would say keep on waiting, because when you feel like it's been too long, it kind of puts you in a place of desperation, and desperate
Mm-hmm.
people do desperate things. Then you start settling for someone that's not even on your level, where you're worth so much more. I know it's easier said coming from a married woman, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
you're probably thinking like, okay, well, you're married, like you have your person. But I was single too. I was single once. And so I know that I knew what I wanted. I knew what I prayed for. And and I'm not saying it just because it sounds good for tonight, but that's just what God gave me. Um, so trusting that, if you're still single, there's a reason why God still has you single, because it's just part of your story, and just patiently waiting, because I don't want you to just choose just because you want to be in a relationship, because so many things can happen with that. Like, you can end up in the worst relationship of your life. You can end up, being so unhappy and just out of God's will for your life. So I would say just keep on waiting.
And I feel like every single story in the Bible, whether it's descriptive or prescriptive, is given for us to learn from. Because when you think about the story of Ruth and Boaz, right? In your singleness doesn't mean. Honestly, there used to be a time where even as a man, I thought waiting on God for a relationship, like you're gonna be sitting around, and then the heavens are gonna open up, and then your spouse gonna come down like,
If
oh,
only.
my child. Here is what you've been praying forth. Like, right? You have to put yourself in a position to explore, right? It doesn't mean that, you still have people who think it's taboo for a woman to approach a man or whatever the case may be. Whatever your belief is, I'm not gonna knock it. But I do believe, just like Ruth actually went to be seen by Boaz in those steps, you should be doing the same for the ladies out there. Getting your hair done, getting your nails done, and all that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's okay for for you to. I don't want to sound very chauvinistic. I don't. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I mean, if you're tired of the singlehood, you can't be out there with the mumu still, sis. Um, one Sunday, forget the muntie a little bit. If you wear the big muntie that cover all your face, wear the little one. Let the men see, right? if you're in a church that does a big muntie, wear the little muntie for one Sunday.
For those who are not Haitian, what is a muntie? Because not everyone knows what that is.
It's the head
I know what it
covering.
is. Yeah.
The muntie. Yeah. A lot of y'all up
Lace.
and down by muntie, I have a muntie sachet.
But in other words, like, you want to make yourself seen,
Yeah.
And I wasn't really trying to make myself seen with you, babe, but like, you saw me after I said hi, so kind of like, don't just sit in your house, like, go out with your friends,
Event, yeah.
Go out to events, and make sure you're going somewhere where the person you want to marry is going to be there. So like, you don't want to marry just anybody. So like, you want to be careful about where you go to, right?
Yeah.
So the person that you're going to see is has potential to be, your husband. So yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. SX, they say the standard can be too high too. So sometime in your singleness, check the standard.
Oh yes, we said that.
Yeah, don't settle, but make sure you're checking your standard. That
Yeah.
is not unrealistic.
And that they're not superficial also, right?
Sure.
Just be realistic. Be realistic about what you want, and about if he can even reach that.
You're welcome.
Oh.
Tootsie toots.
Was there anyone else before we let them go? So what are your thoughts on women approaching men?
I think it's fine. I think it's fine. I think it's not so much so the what, or why, it's the how. How. To be honest with you, and this is not a knock. I'm not trying to make fun or be funny. Like, at first, it was hard for Steve Anne, because Anne is like super, super, super emotional, romantic, and expressive. And as a guy, I wasn't used to it. At first, but I love it. I appreciate it as we got together and grew older, and she made me a more expressive person as well. So there's nothing wrong with it. I would say the how is very important. I'm like, hey, I want you. I've been looking. You know what I'm saying? It's like, drop those subtle hints. And it's right. Sometimes us guys, we're dumb. We're not really. You just said yep. She's like, say yep. That's like the strongest yup I've heard from you all night. Oh my.
You're not down. Sometimes I think guys can be a little slow. Is that the same thing? I don't know.
We in those in that context we can be. We can miss some
Yeah.
cues. We can miss some cues. Um, so
A woman can actually pursue without pursuing.
that's what end. That's what ended.
She said hello quite a few times.
I said
right?
hello, and then every
Wait,
time he's sorry.
Why is Melody here?
Oh.
Get out of here, Mel.
That's our daughter.
Why is she joining? Yeah, I said hi the first time, and I knew something was gonna happen. Like, you know, so every time I saw him, I made sure that I was something to look at, you know?
Oh,
So
yes.
yeah, so he noticed me every single time. Let's go, Jermaine. That's how you got Nick. That's how I got him. It's okay.
Where's Nick? Let Nick join in.
No, sometimes they really don't. They don't know. They don't know how to. They don't. Sometimes they just don't know how to pursue, right? And so you can help them in their pursuit. What, babe?
You're stretching it.
I'm stretching it.
Yes. Pause.
It's always at the pause. I didn't even get it.
Someone put, if your church have single event, don't be too shy to attend.
Go for it.
But then a lot of single events, I know at my church, every time there's a single event, but when they used to have it,
all the women.
It's just the women.
80% or maybe 90% of the attendees were women.
I know.
And like there's like
somebody gave me a tip though, and I think the first time we did one a long time ago on the Marriage Built to Last brand. Same thing happened. Got 2 guys showed up with like 20 women. The women like had their nails done and everything.
And one of them was engaged.
He
Like,
was
what are you here for, bro?
He came to learn. He really didn't come for the speed dating thing. He came to learn more, right?
Okay.
But one of my guy friends was telling me, bro, the mistake that you did, and again, not to be churchy, it's true. The mistake that you did was have it in the church, the venue as a church.
Okay.
So there's nothing wrong with a church organization doing a single dating thing in a nice lounge. Just don't open the bar if you don't want to have the bar open because you want people to be. But the venue is going to be so important too, and more people will come out because they probably want to come to the church. It's the reality. Let's be real with it, right? They probably won't come to the church for a dating event, but if you have it in a nice lounge, a nice, you know what I'm saying, people might be more willing to come. And if it's happening, just go out there, put yourself out there.
That's true. You said there are more women than men too.
Facts. True.
Okay, was there anyone else? I think I got everything. So how can people stay connected with you guys?
Social media.
In the beginning.
Social media, you could follow us on Love Talks _with _ the Garcons on IG. We have our personal IG as well. You could see there you could see it, I guess, somewhere. Personal IG also. You can email us at lovetalkswiththegarcons08@gmail.com. Yeah.
And we have our YouTube. Pop, Daddy was calling you. Go upstairs to Daddy's calling you. And we have
the ring bearer.
The ring bearer.
Oh, Sam here, babe. He saved 99. That's Anne's uncle who brought the ring. Who found
the ring. He said, "Hey, I found it. We also have our YouTube, Love Talks with the Garcons. Yes. And thank you so much. I
love
Tina.
But
we will be a little bit more consistent with the content on there. But yes, you can follow us there, and I'm about to put my ring on.
It's official.
It's official, y'all. Thank you, babe.
Oh, that was sweet. That was nice. You get points. You got points. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me this evening and hanging out with us. It was
such a great time. Thank you so much for having us.
My pleasure. And thank you all in the chat for joining in. If you missed the beginning, I'll be posting the live in a few minutes so you can watch it and the full conversation. Thank you again, guys. Have a wonderful night.
Have a great night, guys. Bye.
Bye.